Today I have a haul for you. I was doing the Read What You Own challenge from November. I've seen Criminoli and MJ going for the 100 books, reading 100 books they own before they buy any new ones. I read 20 books before I got tempted by the bookshops. My name is Jim. This is my channel, Books, Reading and Stuff. First I've got this Dick Francis, Hot Money. Dick Francis was a jockey who turned to writing after his jockeying days had finished, and he writes stories about crime set in the horse racing world. I've actually read more Dick Francis than any other author in terms of number of books, not because I'm his biggest fan, but because my first wife was really into horses and she had a whole collection of them, and I slowly worked my way through them. I think I've read this one before, Hot Money, but I don't remember it, so this will be a trip down memory lane. My goal this year is to read one book in Georgian. I've made a video about that. I asked in the local bookshop if they had any crime books written in Georgian, and the assistant found me this one, Zeli, which I haven't started yet. I don't know much about it, but I don't think it was the kind of crime book I was looking for. Ironically, I did find a crime novel set in Georgia, in Tbilisi, but the writer was Scottish, and it was very good. No harm done. I'll tell you about that a little later. Moby Dick. All these vintage paperbacks here are the same price, and with this one you get a lot for your money. I've ridiculed Moby Dick before as being trash, as being garbage. I did read Meg in the summer. Meg was also about a giant white sea creature, and I read that for Garb August. Moby Dick is the choice of Classics and Company until mid-February, so I could join in with that. I think it's a short story tied up to a whaling manual, but we shall see. It's been a while since I first read Moby Dick. Detroit, Motown. One idea for reading books in another language is to read children's books. I picked this up in the Riddler sale, Mánkanebí, which is cars. This is the Disney Pixar movie. These cars with the funny faces, and the text is in Georgian. Should be fun. The second-hand book I found in Prospero's, but this one's in better condition, is The Marble Collector by Cecelia Ahern. I don't know much about this. I was intrigued by the title. I like books about collecting because I collect a lot of things, little cars and other things. I don't collect marbles, but I do have a few marbles. And I did read one book by Cecelia Ahern, Thanks for the Memories, which was the last book my mother gave me before she passed on, which was an interesting book about somebody given a blood transfusion or an organ transplant, and then they start getting memories that they couldn't possibly have, but it came from the donor. And the final physical book I got was Sara Paretsky, Bodywork. Sara Paretsky, I've read a lot of her works. I've read about 12 of her books. Most of them are set with this PI, V.I. Warshawski, and this is one of those. This is the 14th in the V.I. Warshawski series. The 6 of the first 7 I actually read in French because I was reading them in the 1990s when I lived in France. I wish I could read Georgian like I could read French. I also got some books on Kindle. None of these were more than $2.99, and some were even free. Deadly Guild was free. I haven't started it yet. It's a crime novel. Starship Troopers, which I'm reading at the moment by Robert A. Heinlein, was $1.99. It's very militaristic. It's an interesting read. He's one of the greats of science fiction, along with Arthur C. Clarke and Isaac Asimov. There's Ellis Peters here, The Horn of Roland. Ellis Peters is famous for the Cadfael series, a series of historical mysteries with a monk This is not in the Cadfael series. And No Harm Done. This was the book set in Tbilisi, which I really loved. I gave it 5 stars. I'll be putting out a review of that soon. It reads like a Scottish crime novel or a Scandinavian noir. There's this detective, a dogged detective, who's determined to find out who murdered a call girl when no one else seems to really care about her. There's another Georgian writer, Otar Chiladze. I don't know much about this. I know Roz of Scallydandling about the books, wants to read books from all over the world, and for Georgia she chose a book by Otar Chiladze, which she found interesting and quite different to Western books. I Am Death, I Am Salvation. This is an e-arc. It's coming out very soon by Frankie Holmes. It's a police procedural set in Seattle about these fairy tale murders. The first victim is found in the Seattle amphitheater, dressed up as a character from Little Red Riding Hood. Second victim is dressed up as the witch from Hansel and Gretel. So they're quite grim murders, and there's quite a grim connection with Grimm's fairy tales. And the last book I got here is Gone by Mo Hader, which is a crime thriller again. I don't know much about it. I'm looking forward to reading it. I also have an ARC from NetGalley, an ARC and advanced reader copy, The Highgate Cemetery Murder, which comes out at the beginning of March by Irina Shapiro. It's a historical detective novel set in Victorian times, which sounds very interesting. The lighting's strange now because the sun is beginning to set. If you've read any of these books, you can let me know in the comments below, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.